which is focused on 2 program priorities, which are Smarter and Greener Med. The thematic projects for which we are opening the call are can be study, transfer, or test project. Ah, ça ne change pas. Magnifique. Okay. We are going to make transcription of the meeting, so be informed that this session will be recorded and online on our website. Okay. So this meeting has been prepared and to provide you technical support for filling in the application form and coming back on some key issue relating the drafting of your budget. You may have already participated to the 2 sessions organized in July and some weeks ago about the partnership composition, the indicators, and the construction of your work plan and the integration of the mandatory activities in your proposal. So today we have many information to deliver, so be informed that a specific Q&A session is organized at the beginning of October for any issue that would not have been clarified today or any question you may have about the previous session. Okay, sorry. Okay, fine. So as usual, in this type of meeting, the agenda is organized in 2 main times. So we are going to make a general presentation composed of 2 parts, how to draw up your budget and a presentation of the detailed rule regarding the eligibility of your expenditure. And then my colleague Massimo will make a demo of how to fill in the application form in GEMS. You may be informed that this is the new monitoring system we are using for the 21-27 period. Please keep in mind that all this information is a summary of the information available in the program manual and the specific term of references of each of your priority. But a livello burocratico noi abbiamo concluso tutto. Quindi con Alfa avevamo già la cosa, microphone, please. Con protezione civile, quindi your micro. Okay, thank you. But in 2 hours time, we will not have time to go into detail on each information, and this seminar do not prevent you to explore in depth both documents, the manual and the term of references of your call. Then the rest of information are available on our program website, so you can access to the page Get Involved of the Interreg Euro-MED website, and also to the key documents, which are accessible also through the page. And remember to access as soon as possible, if it's not already done, to the GEMS system, in which you must make your own login. You must create your login to access to an application form. We also remind that there is a frequently asked questions section in the website, and to access to it, you only have to publish sorry, if you have any question, you only have to publish a question that will be then answered internally to the GS, and the answer will be published directly on this page. For this period, we avoid any bilateral exchange in order to be sure that all partners get exactly the same level of information. In parallel, a forum has been created on our website. This is not moderated by the program, but you can go in this forum and create an access to find any potential partners to invite them to participate to your application. So for the first part, I give the floor to my colleague Massimo that will present how to draw up your budget.
Hello, thank you, Ludi, and good morning to everyone. And You're very welcome to this technical meeting. The second one, as already said by Ludwig. So yes, here we are going to show you a few slides concerning the guiding principles that will accompany you to the drawing up of the budget. I don't know if we can go to the first slide concerning the guiding principle. Thank you. So as you already surely know, that's the according to the principles of the European Commission, let's say, the budgeting of a project proposal should be drawn up according to the so-called sound financial management, which consists mainly of three principles, which are the economy, the efficiency, and the effectiveness, and which are stated in the financial regulation of the number 1046 of 2018. We shortly say that the economy principle requires that the resources used by the organization, the pursuit of activities shall be made available in due time, appropriate quantity and quality, and at the best price. And concerning the efficiency, there should be the relationship between the resource employed and the activities undertaken. And last but not least, the effectiveness concern the extent to which the objective pursued are achieved through the activity undertaken. So those are the three main principles, which will be basic for the drawing up of the budget and for the implementation of the whole project proposal, let's say. The second point concerning the Interreg Euro-MED framework, the budgeting is only admitted in euros, so you have to be careful on that, and the activities shall be implemented mainly in the Interreg Euro-MED cooperation area, but we will see better specification on that later on. Of course, the project budget should be developed in close cooperation with within the partnership, so all the partners will have to be involved directly to the budget composition and, of course, to the implementation of the activities. We have 6 cost categories in the budget, and the budget should be split among periods, which we will see further details on this part when we will make the demo on James later on. Okay, and then the correspondence between the project budget and the working plan should be ensured, of course. So I see that there is some problem for anyone that cannot see the presentation. I hope this should be a temporary problem. If not, please tell us. So going through the co-financing of the operation, as you maybe know, in this programming period, in this programming period, in the framework of the Interreg Euro-MED program, there will be not a distinction between ERDF fund and IPA fund anymore, because we will use only a single fund, which is called Interreg funds. And the financing rate is set on 80% of the total eligible budget of the project for all partners. There is no distinction between geographical distinction. And the remaining 20% of the budget is provided by the partner through different way, let's say, could be the public own contribution, the automatic public contribution, for example, for Italy and Greece, and so on. But we will see details in the demo too. So if we go to the key points when you build up your partnership, which we think that you are at this stage, or we hope more advanced for you. So the main points that you have to be agreed with within your partnership, because those are the main elements that will appear in the declaration to be signed by and with your partners. So there will be those 4 points are the main elements of the partner declaration that we will have to download and sign after the submission of the application form. So at the first point, we see the origin and amount of co-financing, because it depends from the internal structure of the partner, of course, but there could be the particularities joined to the national scheme. For example, I repeat that for Italian and Greek partners, there are specific schemes that foresee reimbursement of the co-financed amount. Then, very important is the travel and accommodation method of calculation, because as Ludivine will tell you in a few minutes, we introduced a new method of calculation for travel accommodation, which is joined to the simplified cost option. So this is revolutionary, let's say, from at least from our point of view, the financial point of view. And then you have to set within your partnership the preparation cost sharing. We will see in a few minutes that the amount has changed, and the IPA partners are eligible for this sharing. So you have to be careful with that and set up the amount within your partnership. And then last but not least, foreseen in advance the state aid relevance activities and the follow-up actions, if any. So as we will see in the demo, our general advice is to, when you build up your budget in GEMS, is to start from the state aid, then go to the budget, and then to the co-financing specification. We think that this is very important because in case your project will be approved, any change to these 4 elements, these 4 basic elements, will be very difficult to be done, and there could be a significant impact on project startup phase, because if you want, this is the core from the point of view of the budget composition of the project. So if you will have to modify some of those 4 points, it will be difficult to ensure a startup phase, a smooth startup phase of your project. Then there is a slide on an important novelty of this programming period, is that according to the regulation 1060, which introduced the eligibility of the VAT. So this article says that the VAT is not eligible unless the operation is below 5 million euro, including VAT, which is the case of all the Interreg Euro-MED projects in the present and in the future, at least so far. So it is translated, let's say, in Euro-MED framework, that the VAT will be always eligible. And but we strongly advise to contact your national contact point and your national authority responsible of the follow-up of the program in order to see if there are any specificities or any details that could have an influence on this application of the Article 64 of the regulation. Another important novelties on this programming period is that you will not have to create specific working package for communication, neither for management. Of course, this doesn't mean that you will not have to budget foresee costs for those activities, but you will not have to include them in a specific working patch. We remember you that, as was the case in 4020, you will not have to foresee budget for the creation of the project logo, the management tool, or website costs, because all those tools will be provided by the program. But you will have to foresee, of course, the human resource needed to manage the website, the social network, and the Basecamp animation. Those are the at least the three elements that should be managed by the human resource, and then it's up to you to select how many human resources you need to do those activities, knowing that the website is on a WordPress CMS, so in a WordPress environment, and going through the management is the same argument that even if you don't need to create a specific management working package, you of course have to foresee human resources for the implementation of project activities at, let's say, at narrative level, but from the financial point of view, you will have to foresee human resources in order to ensure the reporting activities, such as coordination, financial reporting, etc. Okay, you would like to tell you a list of mandatory activities that you will have to include in your application form. Remember that those information are taken by the program manual, which have a specific chapter, which is called Designing the Project Activities. And in term of reference of the call, you have the same information reported. Very important in this call is the results application strategy, as you surely know, because we talked so many times. So you will have to include at least the participation on two events per year, and you have to foresee periodic exchanges of information with program in order to contribute to the RAS, the results simplification strategy, and to the program activities. Concerning, sorry, there is one important thing about the carbon offsetting, that the program will provide you a specific tool in order to calculate the carbon offsetting of your project, and will allow you to identify the corresponding budget. We are currently working on it, but we will tell you further information later on. Yes, going through the commitment rule. I'm sure that majority of you know this specific rule in in the application of the European Commission programmation, which applies a specific rule which is called the decommitment rule. So the article says specifically that the Commission shall decommit any amount which has not been used for the pre-financing or for which a payment application has not been submitted, etc. Apart from the technicalities, let's say, of the article, we will see during the demo on the application form that there is a specific table, the D3 overview budget period, which will give us and give you information about the split of the budget for each 6 months, sorry, for each period. So this is very important, because the real risk is that if you don't reach the certification level stated for each period, the risk is that you may lose the difference among those between those two figures. So you will have to try to be as much realistic as possible when you will draw up your budget on the application form. But don't worry, we will see it in details during the demo session. This is only the, let's say, the legal framework introduction to this. Okay, and it's a short slide on investment. This is a novelty according to the last call, because it was not foreseen. Remember that in this call, investment are seen as a new concept, structuring a working plan. I think that in last meeting, my colleague Nicola showed you how to create investment in application form, so we will not bother you again with the same information. We want to highlight here that the investment should be detailed in the work plan and clearly related to pilot activities. There should be balanced costs in regard to the expected project results, and that self-declaration shall be signed by each partner with mandatory rules to be applied for in investment. In the Interreg Euro-MED framework, the investment should be considered as necessary for the current implementation of the activities and dedicated to it. We will see in the demo, but you will have the possibility to split the investment among 3 cost categories, which are external expertise, equipment, and infrastructure. The total cost related to an investment must be identified and as such and justified in the application form. And concerning the budgeting, the cost for investment, you have 2 possibilities, which are both available for the program, but it depends from your internal organization, of course. So they can be fully declared by partner once the activity is implemented. So the only difference with the, let's say, with the classic expenditure is that in this case you should foresee the cost when the activity related to investment start to be implemented, and not when the activity, the expenditure has been paid. So this is the specificity of this point. For material ownership, you have 5 years compulsory limit. For us, it's okay to apply the depreciation. It depends from your internal organization. What is the general rules at national, regional, or internal level. Okay, I want to conclude this first part with the compliance with the state aid, knowing that in this part we are giving you the, let's say, the legal notions, the legal framework of the state aid, but we will have the possibility to go further on this point when we will do the James demo. Then there you will see physically how to complete the self-check declaration, and it will help to integrate the information given here. Only to remember you that the compliance with state aid is according to the Article 107 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. Basically, is an aid granted by a member state or through state resources in any form whatsoever which distort or threatens to distort competition by favoring certain undertaking or the production of certain goods. So this is the classical, say, academic definition of the state aid, what is considered as state aid in the EEC regulation. But we'll try to translate in an Interreg Euro-MED program framework, saying that the co-financing of activities falling under state aid rules is prohibited in the European Union. But there are some exemptions for project partners participating in Interreg project, which is the case of our program. So the first rule, let's say, the first framework is that the state aid scheme only applies to partners located in EU member states. It means, and indirectly, that the partners located in IPA countries cannot carry out any economic activity within the framework of the project proposal or the work plan. The self-check to be done by each partner during the application form drafting should be done before budgeting, as already said a few minutes ago, but as we will see in the GEMS demo, the exemption already mentioned in the framework of the Interreg Euro-MED program are basically two, which is the Article 20 of the GBER, which is the acronym for General Block Exemption Regulation, and we will see particularities in a minute, and the Minimis Regulation, which are the two main schemes that are considered in our program. When we will see the compliance with the state aid during the demo session, we will see that we will have three main results, let's say, of this check. The first one is the green one, let's say, is no state aid relevance. In this case, no conditions are set in the application form, and you will be able to continue with the filling in of the application form without any problem. Then we enter in the yellow parts when you, according to what you declare in the state aid compliance, there is a risk of state aid relevancy. And in this case, each partner should identify and isolate the perimeter of the risk and try to do two operations. The first one, which is the recommended, is try to put in place and write in the application form activities on or operation that could eliminate the risk of state aid. Please refer to the program manual because there is there is a list, not an exhaustive list of operations that you can do or put in place in order to remove the state aid risk. In case you cannot remove the state aid risk, or because those activities are considered as the core of your project, so you will have to confirm the state aid relevance, which is not a problem in se, but they should be notified to the managing authority, which will follow with the operation to be done. And in this case, we remember that the entire budget allocated to the partner is considered as state aid relevant, and not only the part of the activities that you are foreseen to put in the to consider in the state aid regime. We remember too that the Joint Secretariat will, during the evaluation of your project proposal, will so if you want, there is a double check in this sense. So in case we see or we notice some incoherence between what you said and what we see, there should be a proposed specific condition to the application form, or a budget which can go through budget reduction of the partner or specific partner. I hope that it is more or less clear that we prepared a scheme which will help you a lot. I kindly ask you to focus on this scheme, because then we will use it, remind it during the state aid compliance in the demo. So the first question that you have to answer is the partner located in a EU member state? So in case the partner, the answer is no, the partner cannot carry out any economic activity in the framework of the project. So this is the simple part, let's say. In case the partner is located in a EU member state, you will have to check if in the work plan there are state aid relevant activities. So, okay, thank you, Ludi. It's difficult to coordinate that. So in case there are no state aid relevant activities, there should be no condition proposed for the application form. So the project will be evaluated positively in this sense, and we can start in very fast, let's say. And so this is the green part that I told you a few minutes ago. Then if we analyze the case when there are some activities that are considered as state aid relevant, here we have the possibility that the state aid risk should be removed or not. So in this case, the answer is, could I remove the state aid through operation that I can do before the submission of the application form? So in this case, the general advice is to check very accurately this point and see if you have specific measures to include in the project before the submission of the application form. So in case you cannot remove the state aid relevance, we pass from the yellow zone to the blue zone, but it should be red, but it was not good. So in this case, there is the risk. We are in the first case. So in this case, there is the risk of state aid. So we have to check if you will have to check Another thing concerning the co-financing, because if you foresee to apply for an external public co-financing for the project, for example, the case of Italy and Greece, you should you are forced, let's say, is mandatory to go to for the regime of the minimis. So your maximum aid is will be of 200,000 euro in the last 3 years, fiscal years, for each partner. So this is the minimis regime scheme. In the case you don't foresee to enter in to apply to an external public co-financing for the project, in this case we have two choices, which well, three choices in true. With the first one is the general block exemption, which is the one we recommend because the budget that you should foresee is higher, is up to 2 million max in the last 3 years per partner per undertaking. Then you have the minimis, and then you have a third possibility, which is a novelty in this programming period, which is called indirect state aid, which it is called Article 20A2 because it's a sub paragraph of the GBR article, which is the Article 20 of the regulation. In this case, for example, if you foresee a voucher scheme in your project, so there is some partner which foresee the put in place of I don't know, training for SMEs or something, some operation similar to that. The regulation tried to put a legal basis on that, stating that the maximum amount that you can foresee for each participating to the training, so for each SME in the example that we are putting, is 20,000 euro. You have to be careful with that because it's not calculated on financial point of view, so it's not 20,000 euro cash, but it's 20,000 euro according to the whole economic value of the financial value of the activity of the training, let's say. So if there is some equipment, if there are travels foreseen, so you have to consider the whole cost, which is the cost for you as organizing a partner and not the cost for the receiving partner. But I'm sure that it will be more clear, even more clear during the James demo. We remember, before closing, we remember you that this scheme and the selection of the state aid will be part of the check that will be done by the national controllers, which is the new name for the first level controller in the new regulation. So there is a specific question, there will be a specific question for the national controller in order to check if there is compliance between the scheme that you selected and the implementation of the project. So there is a sort of follow-up of this scheme done by national controllers first and by managing authority after. So I mean, what you say here is the basis for the implementation in the future. I think is all for the first part. Thank you, Ludi, for.
Merci, Massimo. Okay. So we already, my colleagues are already answering to many questions that have been posted on the chat. I want to remind you that in any case, the meeting is recorded, so we will take care to answer to all questions. For now, I propose you, provided that we are already near to the second half of the meeting, to go through the eligibility rules, and then we will make a short session for questions before the break and the GEMS demo. So please put your questions on the chat, and my colleagues will answer to them if they are not already answered in the frequently asked question space. And for the ones that will not be answered now, they will be published in the coming days in the page, the web page. Okay, so concerning the eligibility of expenditure, we are going to give you here a short summary of the description that are detailed on the program manual. Here, there you have the list of ineligible costs that the monitoring committee, the regulation and the monitoring committee decided as ineligible costs. So please have a look at it. And then the detailed information concerning each budget cost category for the new period. So concerning the hierarchy of rules, the EU rules are the main ones to be respected in the framework of an ETC project. So you have the Common Provision Regulation, CPR, and then mainly the Interreg regulation and the regulation IPA 3. Concerning IPA, we also ask you to refer to your national authority, provided that some rules are being developed and being agreed between IPA member state and the Commission. So please, in case of doubt, contact directly your national authority, because they are really available for any question you may have, and they can provide you very technical answers. So do not hesitate. Then some additional rules have been proposed by the program, and they all appear in the program manual, and they must be respected by partners. So in that case, make sure that your controller that will be in charge of validating cost is aware about program rules. The work of certifying costs is not only knowing the general regulation, but also having a complete how do you say, a complete knowledge of the program rules. And then finally, in case some issues are not covered by EU rules, neither program ones, you can refer to national eligibility rules. And in that case, please always refer to your national authority, because we don't have visibility on each specific member state rule or participating state rule, provided that we have 14 in the program, so it could be quite complicated for us. Make sure also, if you are lead partner, that your partner are aware of those principles, and that in case of doubt, they are in contact with their national authority. It will be also your role as a lead partner. So from a time-wise perspective, expenditure are eligible according to different periods. So for the program, we have a lump sum dedicated to preparation costs. Those costs, Massimo already explained you, it's a fixed lump sum that will be divided between partners within the product application form, and that will be paid automatically once the subsidy contract is paid. In that sense, you cannot claim any real cost related to preparation, nor related to staff, neither to external expert help during the redaction. You will have to organize yourself, and your institution will have to manage itself with the lump sum. The lump sum, we highly recommend to agree it with the rest of your partnership. Indeed, all the elements that have been presented by Massimo some minutes ago must be checked and agreed with your partner. Concerning the amount of the co-financing, the origin of the co-financing, the share of lump sum, the travel method, and the state aid conclusion. They have the possibility to access to the application form as a reader, So make sure that they access to the application form and they agree on the content in order to avoid discussion from the very first beginning of your project. Concerning the implementation, the starting date of eligibility will be the approval of the project by the program committee, and operational expenditure will have to be related to activities implemented before the ending date of the project and paid before this date. The new the innovation for this period, if you were already with us in 4020, is that we have one single ending date. So for this period, there will be one ending date, which will be the same for us concerning the presentation of your final document, the date of payment, and the validation of your final document. So in that case, each lead partner will have to organize the time frame for closure, agreeing with partner until which date they can pay expenditure in order to have time to certify them and to present them before the final ending date. We already took into account when calculating the duration of your project, 3 additional months, let's say, after the ending of what we estimated as necessary time for implementing your activities. So in the current duration proposed for each type of project, we let a 3 months additional period in order for you to not lose time in the implementation. But please consider that the final date is the final one for everything. Then the internal calendar of each project should be agreed from the very first beginning. Concerning the forms of reimbursement, so you know that in the case of ETC project, you always have to pay a cost before we reimburse them, and it can be reimbursed under simplified cost option format or under real cost reimbursement. The simplified cost options for this period for us are the lump sum for preparation cost, which is paid automatically once the subsidy contract is signed. Then there is a flat rate for office and administrations, which are the 15% of eligible staff cost, which is calculated automatically and is mandatory for all partners. It will be made through GEMS. The calculation is made automatically. So for each euro for staff, 15% will be added for office and administration costs. And then we also made a study for elaborating a flat rate for travel and accommodation, which was one of the major source of mistakes in the 4020 period. We try to simplify as much as possible the management of project, allowing you to apply for the flat rate. I will go more in detail in the budget line description, but those are the 3 simplified cost options. And then all the rest of budget category are covered through real cost, for which you must keep the complete audit trail. You must justify the reality and the coherence of each cost with the objective of the project, and you must respect the eligibility rules. Okay, sorry. So for this lump sum, well, I don't come back again on the amount, and it's compulsory. You already know that. The new point is that for the calculation, we took into account the participation of IPA partners. So we know that some partners are participating to the elaboration of the project, and for this period, they can benefit also from this lump sum. So when making the share between all your partners, please consider also your IPA partner that would have participated to the preparation of the proposal. Okay, so now we will go through the different cost categories, starting with staff cost. So the staff cost for Interreg Euro-MED program will be claimed following one single method. It will be the fixed monthly percentage. It's the method B. If you are already with us in 4020, it will be the monthly working time spent on the project of each staff member expressed in percentage. So this possibility allows you to have an estimation at the beginning of the semester of what will be the implication of your staff in the implementation of activities, and this percentage is used to calculate the monthly gross salary to be claimed under the project. This methodology has been functioning quite well in the 4020 period, and we get many errors concerning the other methodology. So we agreed between many Interreg programs to go only for this single method. We know that some partner will have to change their way of working, but if you are participating to other Interreg program, it will ease a lot your management, provided that the same methodology can be applied in the majority of Interreg programs. For this methodology, the good point is that you don't have to establish a separate working time registration system, and that the only piece for audit is the fixed percentage declaration. We are working with the informatic team for integrating this document in the monitoring system. And if not, it will be outside, but we will go through that when starting project. In case of specific contract check, specific contract typology, sorry, we already received many questions, and this is a national issue because in many cases there are mechanisms foreseen between different entities or between different type of partner, with the possibility to claim staff even if the staff is from another entity. We cannot validate this type of mechanism, so please, in case of question, contact your national authority before starting the project in order to make a good estimation of what would be your cost related to staff. The reference, well, you have the main explanation in the program manual, and we refer for sure to the provision of the regulation. Then for office and administration, it will be very quick, provided that it is the automatic flat rate. The main point is that it's mandatory for all partners. You have to select it in GEMS. In case you do not select, there is a blocking functionality that will prevent the submission of the proposal. So be sure that you selected this point, because it will change the total of your budget if you do it afterwards. So from the very beginning, click on this small check box, and consider that no expenditure can be declared as real cost under any cost category. So there is an exhaustive list of the costs covered by office and administration category. Be sure that no one of those costs go among the real cost expenditure. The most frequent mistake is about post services. Post services are already included in this budget category. So provided that you have an automatic flat rate, this is typically the ineligible cost mainly found by controllers. So concerning travel and accommodation. Travel and accommodation are dedicated to the cost related to travel of the partner institution staff for missions essential to the project implementation. In that sense, you must claim only costs related to your staff. and the exhaustive list appears in the regulation and is repeated there and clearly appears in the manual. For sure, if you are functioning with daily allowance in your institution, any items listed here and already covered by the daily allowance cannot be reimbursed additionally. Concerning travel and accommodation, we explained you that we have two calculation methods. The simplified cost option, which is highly recommended, and we are quite happy because the majority of projects of partners from the first call go for this option, and the real cost. But this option can be chosen only for justified reasons. So if you are opting, or you or your partner are opting for this methodology, during the pre-contracting phase, they will have to justify clearly why they have chosen this methodology, because it will make a double audit trail for the project. And so the idea is to go to encourage all your partnership to go for the same method. In any case, if your choice of real cost already in the application form, it can be also easy for you and the assessor of your project. The simplified cost option, anyway, is the one recommended. We made a calculation that leads us to calculate 22% of eligible staff costs for IPA partners. And the regulation already foresee the 15% of eligible staff costs for EU partners. So in this context, each partner will have to choose the method to be adopted for the calculation of travel and accommodation of its own staff. And this choice will apply for the implementation of all Interreg Euro-MED projects in which a partner will participate. We want to avoid as much as possible confusion, different audit trails. So the idea is that you go for one method and you remain in this method until the ending of your project. After the starting of your first project, this method will not be changed at all. And the check concerning the coherence between your application and any previous one will be checked by the GS during the pre-contracting phase and the assessment. Concerning the flat rate, so the 50 and the 22 eligible, the 22% have been calculated based on historical data, and the advantages are that it's not necessary for you to detail the budget. You only have to click on GEMS and the calculation will be automatic. There is no need to document or prove that the expenses have been incurred and paid. And you don't have to justify the relation between each travel and each staff member with the project. Also, in case you make travel out of the MED space, it will be covered by the flat rate, so there is no risk of missing audit trail concerning the validation of any travel made out of the area. In case of control, nothing can be required, no document can be required, and the point is that for each eligible staff cost, for each euro eligible under staff cost, the calculation will be automatic. In the same way, in case of ineligible staff cost, the same percentage will be applied and impacted for travel and accommodation. So the idea is to secure as much as possible the staff cost category with the method B, which is the easiest one to use, and then to go safe for the rest of budget categories. And well, concerning the ones that would like to resist and go for real cost, be sure that the change is justified. that if you go for this option, you have made a calculation or something that let us understand why you are blocked for using the flat rate, and ensure that the full audit trail is respected and that all material is kept by the partner. So that is to say agenda, proof of payment, traveling tickets, metro tickets, taxi invoices, restaurant invoices, and that any eventual travel in specific zone is also approved by the GS. So concerning the category external expertise and services, this is a category to be used in case the partner do not have certain competencies within its own organization and that decide to outsource a project task. For sure, we expect from you that the majority of budget go for staff and not for external expertise and services. There is no threshold, no formal threshold, but this will be assessed. So if the 80% of your budget is outsourced, it will be considered during the assessment and the plausibility of your partnership, for instance. So be sure that you externalize only things that you cannot develop internally. Those costs are related to expertise and services related to project activity, but also to first level control, which is now called national control. So be sure if you have an external control that you have foreseen the budget to be dedicated to this function. And also concerning the investment, a specific point to be highlighted here is that in case of investment, costs related, for instance, or to the maintenance or the setup of your pilot should be claimed under external expertise and services. So in case an investment need maintenance or setup services, for instance, you should put it under external expertise and make the link to the investment through the budget construction. Massimo will show that afterward. And well, for sure, procurement rules must be respected. So check the EU threshold and also the national, internal, and regional threshold that could be imposed to your structure. When building up your budget, you will see that at least we would need a description of plan, expertise, and services in the budget and the corresponding amount. You can not maybe you don't have the detail for all type of expertise, but if we can understand how you build up your budget, it will be easier for the assessment. Concerning the equipment cost category refers to material that has been purchased, rented. Sorry, you will not access. Okay, you can. Equipment purchased, rented, or leased by the beneficiary and not already covered by the cost of office and administration. So be sure that you don't claim a real cost that are already in the exhaustive list from the regulation concerning office and administration cost. The partner should foresee the cost on a pro rata basis and according to a depreciation plan. So this should appear on the application form when making the forecast of your expenditure through the different periods. And any equipment to be used for project management tasks must be reasonably purchased at the very beginning of the project. If you buy a computer at the end of the project, we will have some problem to approve it in the sense that we consider that it's not related, it's not justified as a cost for this type of activity. And then the use of such equipment should be in line with the staff effort plan and project activities. So if you don't have any staff dedicated to the project 100%, we will expect from you that there is no material claimed 100% under the project. This is a logic that will be applied also in case of second level audit, and costs could be suppressed, could be rejected for this reason. And last but not least, equipment related to an investment must be clearly necessary for the pilot implementation and stated as such in the application form. So when building your budget, you will have to put the description of each type of equipment, trying to be as precise as possible, the amount, and in case it is related to, it is necessary for the implementation of a pilot action, you can click and select on GEMS the investment to which it is related. And this will allow the assessor, the colleague in charge of the assessment of your project, to understand the way your pilot activity will be implemented and the, how do you say, the tools that will be dedicated to it. And finally, the last and new budget category for this period, infrastructure and works. These costs are detailed in the regulation, but at program level, some expenditure have been reduced because of the logic of ETC project and the time frame proposed for implementing action. So, for instance, it was purchase of land that was suppressed because you would not have time to purchase land, to make the analysis for purchasing, and to implement your activity in the time frame proposed for your project. So some costs are ineligible. Please have a look at the list, and the rest are costs related to the objective of the project and to the pilot activities. So this category includes the cost for fixed investment in infrastructure, and the cost should appear in the work plan, and the material should appear in the work plan, and the cost in the budget, and they should be detailed also. So please, in the budget, put a description of each type of infrastructure and work cost and the corresponding amount you expect to spend on this activity. As for equipment, the link to your investment should be formalized through the budget section, and the infrastructure located outside the program are prohibited. So those are the main aspects related to to infrastructure and work. And I think that now we can have around 4 questions, and then we will make a short break in order to allow Massimo to make the presentation from, I don't know, 30. Okay, so 5-10 minutes of question, and then we make a short break before Massimo go on with the remarks. I think that we will go before with the question maybe in the chat, and then you can raise your hand and my colleagues will moderate the. Okay. Thank you. Okay, it will be easiest. Okay, raise your hand, and I think that they will give you directly, because it seems that many questions have been already answered by written. So raise your hand on the chat, and my colleagues will give you the floor.
Yes, sorry, I take the opportunity. We tried to answer. So in case you, I mean, we tried to answer in the chat directly, but in case you find that the answer is not enough, or we forgot some question, please be free to ask again in here in public or again in the chat, knowing that the majority of them will be answered. The majority of the answer that we provided so far will be answered more in details during the demo. Okay, is Carlo Meses?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this session. Thank you for all your kind explanations. But I have a crucial doubt. It's not clear in my mind. Maybe I've not listened well. I don't understand. So we have some investments that are eligible for pilot testing. We need to do it. We must justify it clearly, facing the activities that we are describing that are core to the project. We are developing a project with 3 or 4 or 5 pilots according to the regions and according to their necessities and the things that we need to test carefully. So we need to do some investment. It's not a lot, but we are trying to balance it in order not them to overload the total amount that we are applying for financing. But are these investments directly eligible or only if they begin and end with a pilot test? That's the first question. If they continued to work for the partner because the pilot test just starts at day 1 and ends at day 30, and then we can continue do something with that equipment, what is eligible? Is it its cost or is it its depreciation cost? Because in other programs, we only can apply for the depreciation cost. And that's why I am a little bit confused around this topic.
Okay, so, well, as far as the investment, the costs are related to investment. The relation between the cost foreseen, the investment, and the pilot action will be assessed. So when starting your project, if some material is judged as not related, not dedicated 100% to the pilot action, and we think that it's a general material that can enter under equipment, not being an investment, it will be cleaned during the assessment of the project. But then if the material is dedicated to the pilot action, it can be claimed, the full cost can be claimed. Then for the program, then if at national or regional level, you cannot claim 100% because they impose you internally, for instance, they impose a depreciation plan, you will have to respect the stricter rules. But as program, we consider that if the material is dedicated and is fundamentally necessary for the pilot action and dedicated to the pilot action, the full claim can be justified. Then we cannot go against any eventual national strictest rule, but from the program consideration, this can be fully justified.
Okay, you just clarified my mind. Okay, thank you very much for the answer.
That's good. Is Carla Racera wants?
Yes, hi.
Take the floor.
Thank you very Thank you very much for this meeting. And I'm going to ask a question that I asked already in the last webinar, but I want to be sure to have understood. And in a project where there is like citizen involvement, and so investment are going to be decided during the first phase of the project. So how can you show them, how can you indicate this kind of investment in the budget, knowing that the precise investment will be decided by the citizen themselves? So I mean, like, for example, we know that we want to maybe do something for refreshing.
Yes, we already. We understood your preoccupation, but the fact is that, as I already explained, your project will be assessed and put in competition with other projects that will have detailed information. So in case you don't have yet the exact material that will be used, in any case, you should put at least a short list of the material that you will propose to citizens or to mayors, and that among which they can make a choice. It can go out from the hat during the project life, because we have to assess this type of information. So if you don't have the exact typology, for at least try to make a short list or to explain the type of material that can be acquired and the estimated cost, to considering the maximum and the minimum. And then if there is minor deviation during the follow-up of your project, it will be checked on how do you say, on a case-by-case basis by the project officer in charge of the project. But you cannot let an open issue in your application form pretending to be assessed at the same level with the projects that are very, very specific in their description. So we expect all projects to be quite aware and quite conscious about which type of activity they want to implement. Then if you are speaking, if there is a doubt about between fountains and trees, okay, put fountain or trees, or put material for refreshing the cities, or put something in order to allow you, the assessor, to understand what you are going to implement.
I think that.
Okay.
There is a problem. Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes, thank you. I understood. I understood what you say. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
okay.
Only to
Thank
maybe
you.
to integrate what Ludivine says. In case you have got a specific nature of the investment, because if I well remember, you were talking about the citizens' ownership or citizen involvement. So in this case, you have to, as already said by Ludivine, you have to duly justify why this is a specific investment which cannot be quantified, let's say, at the beginning of the project or the project proposal, but should be participative process that should be done by the during the beginning phase of the project. So the floor is Andrea Santoro.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. First of all, let me thank you for this very useful clarification session and meeting. Well, I have a question about staff cost. In particular, I'm making this question on behalf of a marine protected area that intends to candidate a project proposal. Yes. In the structure, in this Italian marine protected area, all the staff, all the employees, except the director, are contracted not directly with the marine protected area, but through a temporary employment company. In Italian is Agenzia Interinale. So in this case, should their cost, I mean the cost of the staff, should be allocated in staff cost budget line or in external services budget line? Because in this latter case, it would be difficult to respect the recommendation of not exceeding the 50% of the budget of the external expertise and services. Thank you.
Yes, I think that you posted the question during the Monday seminar, the Italian Monday seminar, but not in the chat. You posted by mail. So in this case, I mean, the official owner of the answer is at national level, because each national contact point, the national authority, is in charge of this particular of many particularities that should arise in each country, because we have a panel of countries going from the Portugal to Bulgaria. So we are not able to know each specificity of each country, most of all concerning the work regulation, the internal work regulation at national level. From the experience that we had so far, in this case, I will say that the cost should not be considered as eligible as if declared as staff cost. But again, I invite you to keep in contact shortly with the national authority, national contact point, in order to solve this point, because we think we agree with you with this, which is a crucial point for the budget drawing up and for all the structure of the project proposal in itself. If you want, of course, you can put in copy the managing authority and the joint secretariat, so we will be able to follow up with you the issue.
Thank you very much. I don't know if I can go through the second question we sent via email, but maybe it could be useful also for other.
Please remember us, because
there are also for this marine protected area.
Yes.
We intend to candidate a project proposal as a test project, and one actions, let's say, that we intend to realize as one work package is inter alia to support small and medium enterprises located in the territory of the marine protected area with the GBER. This means that we would like to, after a selections of these small enterprises, we would like to give a maximum aid granted of 20,000 euro as a final beneficiaries of the project activities. First of all, I would like to know if, of course, this is possible as an activity for the project. And in this case, the aid granted amount, if it should be allocated also in external or just in external budget line, or according to the kind of activities that each SME should realize with this activity. For instance, if a fishery company working in the territory of the marine protected area should purchase equipment, then this kind of budget should be allocated in equipment and so on.
Yes, I remember the question now. So I think that the question is divided into two questions. So you first ask if the activities should be considered as pilot activities and if it's eligible within the framework of the Interreg Euro-MED program. If you don't care, my colleague Ludivine will answer to you. What I can answer to you is concerning the second part, or the first, depending on the point of view, concerning the state aid regime that should be selected. Because I read in the mail, and you repeated here, that you will be put in place a selection of the SMEs which will be participated to the training, or I don't know. So in fact, the put in place of a specific selection, open call, if it's an open call with some criteria that should be respected and a deadline to answer for the. In this case, this is exactly one of the methodologies or methods adopted, that should be adopted in case the state aid risk relevance is showed during foreseen, showed in the state aid compliance. So, and this is one of the methods. I mean, is one of the important methods that should be used to avoid the risk. And it is important to put directly in the application form in this phase, and you should reflect this point on the self-check compliance in the, but this is a good example that we will see during the demo, because there is a specific question list, is the fourth one, and there you will have to answer no to this, to the fourth question, and then the system will not tell you, will not give you state aid relevance no more. So I let Ludivine complete if possible. We don't listen to. Okay, no. No. Yes.
Sorry, I only have one question. The object of, well, I will not do the assessment of your project now, but the object would be to give a monetary award or to give voucher for services or something like that, because it's different. Monetary transfer are not allowed. You cannot give an amount directly. You cannot make a transfer of money to another, to a beneficiary and claim it as cost. Okay. System of voucher, which enter in the logic of the GBA exemption, but monetary awards are not are part of the ineligible cost of the program. So only be sure about the type of about the construction of your activity. Okay.
Okay, so through voucher is an eligible cost within the GBER situation, let's say, not directly a money transfer to the SME.
No, a money transfer. Okay, it will be ineligible.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
it's fine.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay,
I don't know
thank you.
Mr.
Okay, thank you. I think that there was a question about the declaration, the investment declaration and the partner declaration. So I will try to summarize. During the application phase, you have to check the content of the application form in order to generate, after clicking on the submission button, generate the declaration that should be presented with your application form for assessment. In case you don't have those documents ready for the deadline, those will be requested as condition for the approval of your project. It's not anymore an eligibility rules. Okay, your project will not be rejected because the declaration are missing. Here, speaking about partners declaration, about the declaration related to investment. In case in the application form you foresee an investment, and in case it is a justified investment approved by the assessment from my colleagues, it will suppose that the partner in charge of each investment will have to sign this declaration. Basically, this declaration go back on the information already filled in GEMS concerning investment. So about ownership, about sustainability, about impact on climate. But we need your compromise on Spanish, your commitment about the respect of the principle regulating investment. So the partner declaration will be needed for signature of the subsidy contract, and investment declaration will be requested in a case-by-case basis by the project officer during the pre-contracting phase. Okay. In any case, it's only a way for us to formalize your commitment to respect the points already stated in the application form. It's clear, I think. If not, raise your hand if you in the origin of the question. Okay, fine.
Okay, I think it's the turn of Nina Bencheva, Bulgaria.
Wrote my question, but my question is about the staff cost.
Yes.
If the person from one organization, like we are a university, can have a separate contract for the activities under the project, and if the monthly rate for these activities can be different from the monthly rate in the main contract of the person.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Someone having a specific contract for the project, and then a change
then the monthly rate of this separate contract, which is just a contract for the project, can be different from, let's say, the main contract of the person in particular organization, like we are university, because the activities are different from those carrying out in the organization.
Okay, I think this should be confirmed with your national authority concerning the type of contract and the eligibility as staff, but I think it will be eligible. But the fact is that we don't have the question of any hourly rate. The idea is how, which percentage do you want to put on the project? If there is a specific payslip dedicated to the project, you can say that 100% of this payslip is eligible under the project, provided that this 100% is not 100% of the time. If there is one single payslip with all the contract inside, you have to calculate the percentage depending on the rate dedicated to the project. In any case, we remind that it will be 1% per staff member per period as a minimum. You cannot change the percentage of each month. So be sure on the document that will be used for getting the monthly salary. And based on that, you will have to see if it's 100% of this amount, or if it's a big contract with all projects in it, it will be a smaller percentage. But well, and then for the mechanism, please refer to the national authority, because we cannot validate any type of contract or any type of convention or share of staff time between expertise, a single expert. So well.
Okay, so but we can have a separate contract for the project.
We don't. You should have a contract with the name of the person, and if there is a name of the product inside, better for us. If not, you should formalize internally something that allow to make the relation between the staff and the contract. But if it's already done, it's okay for us. But don't do it only for the project.
Okay, and the main question was, if, let's say, for example, I'm a professor, I have a, let's say, obligation for the university for the teaching. I have a contract for teaching, but if I have other activities different from this, I can have another, let's say, staff rate, monthly rate, or because
okay, for the, I'm sorry, but for the typology of contract, we add so many configuration different.
Yes, I understand for the type of contract. I mean for the rate, for the staff rate.
You have to consider that there is a percentage of your time dedicated to the project.
Yes, yes, I understand that. But for the staff rate, which we have to calculate in the application form, it could be different from the staff rate, let's say, for different activities which I carry out
within the project.
Sorry?
That are always carried out in the framework of the project.
Yes.
That's okay. So you make an average rate and you go. You have to sum up the total hours, if you want, dedicated to the project as a whole.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And I have a second question. Can we hire people outside of the organization? So to have contract with them for less than 100%, let's say for 15%.
It's like you are talking about the fellowship because you are a university, I imagine.
Yes,
Not
fellowship or other experts.
Yes, but again, this is issues that are regulated by each country at national level. So for us, at program level, we are going not to evaluating case by case in this session.
Yes.
But yes, but for us, it's important that the people is working in the framework of the project with all the audit trail, which is in line with the national level at program level. So concerning the particularity of each partner, it's always the national authority which is in charge of doing that, or maybe you can refer to other Interreg programs too. But from our experience, from our current programmation, the past programmation, sorry, we had fellowship, active fellowship, working in a university 100% or 50% to the projects. But there were other countries, other projects, other programs. Please refer to your national authority for further clarification in order to be sure 100% to not doing mistake, because the risk is that then when declaring cost, even after declaring cost, you should have problems in considering those costs as eligible.
Okay, so we will refer to the NA.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
sorry, but we have to make a short break of 3-5 minutes, and then Massimo will have to proceed with the presentation. In any case, if you have question that can apply to all participants, put them on the chat and we will try to answer to them online. And for specific question related to your national regulation, your national mechanism for staff appointment, please always refer to the national authority, because we cannot be responsible for national staff regulation, working regulation. It's a very deep and complicated issue, and each member state is functioning with different rules. So we cannot provide you a standard answer from program point of view. Sorry for that, but okay. So we make the short break, and in 5 minutes we come back in 5 minutes.
10 to 12.
50.
11 to 15.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we will start again. I give the floor to Massimo, and we will try to finish with the demo. Thank you. The question not answered today will be answered through the FAQ, and I remind that there is a specific question and answer session organized at the beginning of October. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry. So we will talk a little bit about the budget filling in. I know that we know that you have been talking with our colleagues in last days about the project description and project partners, and the identification, of course. So we are going to focus on the part related to the budget, the co-financing, and the state aid, which are three tabs of the partner, let's say, of the partner overview section. So as already anticipated during the first part of the presentation, we suppose that you are in the phase that you have already set all the activities, the work plan is ready. So now you are assessing if the activities that you are trying to develop, or you will develop in your project proposal, are state aid relevant. So there is a set of 4 questions divided into 2 main criteria, which are the one already seen during the presentation. So the first criteria is the partner involved in economic activities through the project. So here there are 2 questions about that. The first question is, will the project applicant implement activities or for which a market exists? So this is the question, the first question concerning the economic activities, or the second one is specific to the willingness or making profit with the development of the activities within the project. In this example, we suppose that the activity we should be implemented is not present, is not existent in the market. So we answer no. At this regard, I don't know if you already seen with my colleagues, but if you notice here, you have 2 little circle here at language level, 2 points. This means that all the fields should be filled in both languages. But in some case you don't have it in the application form, but in this case, yes. So you switch to French and you can copy paste the same text in case you don't want to, you don't have resources to translate. Then the second question, let's say, we assume that we answer no to all questions. This first example, so I basically copy paste the same text for both questions. Let's say as you can see here, the little circular disappeared. So this part is completed. So we assume that the activities implemented, there is no market for the activities which should be implemented, and that the applicant, the partner in this case, because the state aid check is made for every partner, the the activities are not undertaken with a view of a marketing profit. So there are not activities that could have been undertaken in view of marketing profit. We will use the same scheme, let's say, for the third question, which refers the economic advantage in the frame of the workshop or the project, sorry. So the question is, does the project applicant plan to carry out economic activities on its own, not to select an external service provided via public procurement procedures, for example? This is the case that we had a few minutes ago with the question proposed by Andrea Santoro. So in this case, you are answering no here because you foreseen to select an external service provider via public procurement. So in this case, the answer should be no, because the application form is specifically foreseen a specific procedure to select an external provider which is in charge of carrying out some activities. Last but not least, there is the question concerning the specific, sorry, I have some problem with them. Okay. So there will be some external or any other operator, let's say in the market, which will be benefiting of the economic activities developed in the framework of the project. So, for example, this should be the voucher scheme, notice the token that we talked a few minutes ago. So, for example, there is an operator which is not included in the project, which will gain benefits from the project economic activities. This means that be careful, because the regulation talks about benefits, which means not necessarily means only financial grants or any. The regulation is talking about benefits, which should be not necessarily financial. So it's access to information or for training and so on. In this case, you will have to translate, let's say, in a financial language, the activities foreseen and the competence acquired. So in case we assume that the project applicant and operator will not gain any benefits, you put no to everything. So the answer is no risk of state aid. And here we are in the green, the left part, or maybe right from your side. So the green part of the slide that we saw a few minutes ago. So in this case, there is no risk of state aid. So the other two fields should not be filled in, because I think there was a question in the chat about that. So if no risk of state aid, you don't need to go further on it. You save change. Remember here that there is all this the circle in French, so you need to put the same in French, because when you will do the pre-submission check, this will generate an error. It will not permit the validation of the application form. So in order to be sure, please remember to do it in both languages, and you can continue with the evaluation of with the filling in of the application form. So I would like to make another example. I don't know if we have time. Yes, I think. So in case, for example, you do not foresee public procurement, for example, in the answer in the question provided a few minutes ago, you don't foresee a public procurement or a call for interest for the SMEs or for other operators external to the project in order to participate to a training or so on. In this case, your answer should be yes, and you have to specify here which are the basic elements that should be useful for us as managing authority, for national controller, for all the control levels in the future, let's say, to understand which is the logic behind this kind of answer provided. And as you can see here, we are at risk at indirect aid because you are not providing any, let's say, any operation to avoid the risk of the state aid. So in this case, you have to select here for simplicity. We put only 2 activities here in this application form, in this demo, but you will have all the activities here listed. So, for example, we assume that is the activity 1.1, which is concerned by this circumstances, and the activity 1.22, etc., etc., etc. And then here you have to select which is the regime that you want to follow for those circumstances. So in this case, for example, always following the real examples so far, you will select the Article 20A, which is called the indirect state aid. So you will have 20,000 euro for partner per project. You make save, you save change. So your self-check on state aid is complete now. This is the example for an EU state. We put here partner 4, which is an IPA. I think that we put Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yes, from Breško. Okay, in this case, it is mandatory. This one, all the answers should be no risk of state aid. And please be aware that this is not only the answer to the self-check. It means that this is the final part of the your working plan. So it means that at the source you are not allowed to do economic activities in the project. An operator should not foresee to have to making profit from the activities done by your project, etc., in the other self-check. So in this case, for all IPA partners, we expect to have this declaration filled in like that, of course, with the text that we put so far. So this is only for complete the information. Okay, no, I was thinking there were some questions in the chat about that, but I think that is already answered. Okay, going down the state aid, we advise to jump to the budget section because this is propedeutic for the co-financing session. Because if you don't have the total budget, it will be very difficult for you to know which is your co-financing. So, as already said by my colleague a few minutes ago and this morning in general, we have in this call we have 5 cost category, or 6 considering preparation cost, but it's not a cost category in se. And here you have going through the showing the general structure of the page. Here you have a resuming table, which will be filled in with the budgets when you will put values and figures in this section. And here you have the 2 budget options, which is office and administration and travel. And here you have the cost category. Please be aware of this, of travel accommodation, because now you have the possibility to declare it as real cost, but in a few seconds we will see that this will disappear when we select travel and accommodation calculation as flat rate. So in this case, and answering to a question in the chat, I think that you have a default value, which is 22%. Okay, so in this case, it is good because the partner is from IPA countries. So in this case, you can live like that. And we will see later on for other partner. But in case of EU partner, you have to change it manually. Because please be very attentive to this, because it should generate misunderstanding errors at the project level. So here you have travel and accommodation, and as you can see here, the possibility of declaring it as a real cost has disappeared. The same mechanism is for office administrations. Here the percentage is set automatically because it's fixed. It's 15%, so you save change and you see that a new cost category appears, which is office administration cost. How do are calculated? In this case, we will make an example of staff here. You have a big simplification in this programming period in relation with what happened in the previous programming period, because here you have the possibility to put the whole cost of the staff for the partner. If this is okay for you at internal level, at national, regional, etc., level, for us is okay. Here you can put all the total cost of the staff, or maybe you can divide it per person. This is up to you, but for us, we want to know how much do you spend for staff in total, and we want to know how this cost is divided at semester level. And I think that there was a question in the previous seminar done in Italy Monday concerning the relevance of this section, but the relevance, we talked about it this morning when we were talking about the commitment rule. So here we put, for simplicity, always the same amount for each semester, but of course you have your calculation, your own calculation at partner level, so this amount change according to the implementation of the project. So for the beginning it will be less, then we'll start to grow up and then going down according to the work plan of your project. So technically you see here that there is a calculation field which is automatically filled in. It means that here you have a gap of 40,000 euro to be completed too. So when I put this 40, I have gap 0, so I'm able to save. If the system reveals a gap here, we will not able to save. So in this case, you save information. And only one quick thing, you can see here that there is no bullet, there is no point. So in this case, it's not mandatory to fill both fields in both language. So in this case, I will make it a little bit bigger, maybe. In this case, for example, you have a budget per staff cost of 240,000, and the system automatically calculates the 50% for office and administration and 22 in this case, but it will be the 15 for the EU member states. for travel and accommodation. So in order to answer to the several questions that we had in the chat, so you don't need to provide audit trail for that. I repeat, because it's better to repeat. You don't need to have audit trail for that, because they are calculated on a flat rate basis. Okay, then we go through cost category external expertise. We will pass two example, two classical example here. One is the national controller, which, as already said, is the new name of the first level controller, of the ancient first level controller known in the 4020 programming period. So you put here a short description of the cost, then the award procedure that should be public procurement. This is only indicative. If you don't know it, how you will select, you can put not available or none, but I think that this field is mandatory. As is mandatory, as you can see here, that you have to put it in English too. So basically you have to repeat the information. And here is this call for proposal, which is not the case of the last one. You have to connect, you have the possibility to connect external expertise, equipment and infrastructure and work cost to an investment. My colleague created an investment in last session, so in this case, but in this case we are talking about national controller, so it's not an investment in se. So we can put NA in this case. And how much it will cost? Let's say it costs 6,000, which means that the certification will cost 500 euros each. Yes, the example was set on 3,000, sorry. So we have 3,000, we save, and we have recorded the first line. On second line, quickly we can go kick off meeting, catering, for example. In this case, this is not an investment. We foresee that we have 1,000 euro, and you put at the very beginning, because the kickoff meeting is done at the very beginning of the project, so in the first 6 months, and you put save. Okay. I think it is enough. The logic is very intuitive, let's say. And of course, here we can make, sorry, public. Both language. Okay. So we would like to go shortly to other cost category too, making some example. For example, here we can make the purchase of a computer or a laptop, let's say. And this is, I don't know, I can put public procurement for simplicity, but this is. So in case the equipment is part of an investment, you can select it here, or if not, you leave like not applicable. And we put, I think that for equipment, we can put 600 euro in order to be able to split it in 6 months easily. So in this sense, if your own regulation permits this, the depreciation, you can put depreciation. If it's not, if it's the same basically for you, for us is okay to put 600 here, and that's okay for us. Or if you foresee to buy here, you put it here, and it's okay. You save. And we go directly to the infrastructure and work. Okay, in this in this case, for example, we pass some infrastructure. I don't know. Example, make public. Okay, in this case, you pass investment because you detected this here, and we suppose that it costs 6,000, for example. Or in this case, you have to be aware of what's said in the first part of this meeting. So here, in case of investment, the total investment, the total infrastructure is joint investment. So you have fixed 1,000 euros. So if the investment in the application form is foreseen that an investment will be implemented at the very end of the project, so in the 6th period, because it's the final part of your implementation, so you will have to put the 6,000 here, because even if you pay the invoice, let's say here, it's better to know at where the investment should be implemented. So it means that the cost should be specified here. That's it. So remember to do it in English too, but I will not do it for time problems. So let's say that at this point you have the budget overview complete. You have foreseen all the costs, exception done for lump sum. So the lump sum is here, section E1, project lump sum. So in this section, we have the possibility to add the lump sum preparation cost, which in this programming period has been set to up to 57,000 euro. Exactly 57 is not up to, sorry. So you have to split exactly 57,000 euro among partners. I do it for simplicity like that. So you can you cannot. It is in this case. Preparation costs are mandatory for all partners. So you can do it here. Don't forget to go here in preparation and select only preparation. Even if you have the possibility to select the period, you have to select mandatory is this, the first one, the first field is preparation. Please do not select, be very attentive on that, because if you select another period, it will probably we will not be able to recognize them, and the budget will be lost in the working package, among working package. So please be aware to select preparation here and go do save changes. So at this time you have the budget overview complete for the partner, for lead partner, let's say. So I think we were there, sorry. We were on the IPA partner, so it's the same. Here we have a complete overview. All the cost category are filled in. So now we are able to conclude our budget drawing up with the specification of co-financing. Here there is one last but important some important aspect to be taken into consideration. So when you enter in this section, the font is not selected. So you have to select Interreg funds. As already said, there is no distinction between ERDF, IPA anymore. So there is only one fund which calculates automatically the 80% of the total budget that you selected minutes ago, and you split the budget into fund and own contribution. Last but not least, here you have to select the origin of your partner contribution. So here you have the possibility to select public or private according to what have you declared here. I think the identification, yes, here there is public legal status. So in case you are providing your own co-financing amount, you have to select public because you declare that you are public at the beginning. So here you copy paste this. Okay, copy paste this to this field, and the work is done. You save, and it's okay. Okay, you as let's say another example. We refer here for an exception. Well, we can make those. Okay, let's imagine that this is an Italian partner or Greek partner or another partner which will have access to an external contribution. In this case, you will have to select another line. So let's say that the first line is especially dedicated to the internal co-financing. In case you have external co-financing, don't caring about the origin of the co-financing, you have to open another line, which is, for example, let's make an I don't know, make external one. So in this case, you have to specify which is an external public, external private. In the case of, I always refer to Italian and Greek partner because they are the most known, but there are some regional scheme, for example, for the partner, which foresee an automatic public reimbursement of the co-financing provided. So in this case, you can directly put here Ministry of Finance Italy, for example, Fondo di rotazione, etc., etc. So here you put the amount, and now you are able to save. So in this case, the totality of the budget is already done. You have your state aid done, then the budget, and then the co-financing with the details of the budget here. But you have also here 3 tables. I'll show you quickly. This is the D1 project co-financing source for each partner. So you have the rate Interreg is always 80. The amount of an Interreg is here. The public contribution, depending on what you selected in the last section that we saw a few minutes ago, and then the eligible budget and the percentage of each budget upon the total. Here you have the same data for cost category, but I would like to show you this table because it's the one that we let's say quoted during the PowerPoint presentation, which is the overview per partner per period, the D3-1. So this is the table which will be used in order to calculate the commitment at program level. As you surely know, the program expenditure are the project expenditures, and the project expenditure are the partner expenditures. So be careful here to complete in a most realistic way the part for each period. Be as much accurate as you can do in order to don't have problems during the implementation of of the project and the risk of lose some part of the budget allocated for each period. As already said by Ludivine, when you will submit the application, you will have the possibility to download the declaration with all relevant data. Here you have the pre-submission check, but I think that you already seen with my colleagues this. So you have to fill in, you have to comply with all the criteria set for this call. And when everything is green, you can proceed with the submission. And last but not least, I would like to show you one last thing about the project privileges. So in this, you have the opportunity to add from the partners, and you will have the let's say you should do it mandatorily to add the partners to the application form reading. So as you can see, I will explain you the functioning, and then we will make some consideration on that. In this case, for example, the application form was created by my colleague with this account. So he has automatically managing privileges. So in this case, it's like if it was the lead partner, and then he added me another account, which is I'm logged with this account now. So he added me as user for this application, and they granted me managing privileges. In this case, because of obvious for the presentation, it was easier for us to have managing privileges, but for the partner, you can give view privileges, so you can see what the lead partner is filling in the application form, and be able to correct verbally or by mail, telling to the lead partner which is something that is wrong, and validate somehow what is provided by the lead partner. Or in case we have a partner that is helping you to write down the application form, you can give edit privileges in order to be able to erase and put text in the relevant fields. For the moment, we leave everything like that. The only thing, the last one, I think, is that when you put an account here, this account should be already in the GEMS database, because if not, it will be not recognized by the system, and this privilege system will not work. So if the partner account is not in the database of GEMS, please be sure that the account is already registered in the database, and then go here in order to grant privileges to him. I think is everything for the moment.
Okay, thank you, Massimo. So we hope the live session helped you to understand how to fill in the information. In any case, I remind that there is a courtesy application form, a courtesy version of the application form available on the website, and in which we specified each step to be followed and the information needed in each specific section of the application form. So through this demo and the different other ones held by my colleagues, you should be able to fill in without problem the application form. In any case, remember that you have a possibility to contact the program through the generic email address for any technical problem. So do not hesitate to address us any specific technical problem. For the moment, there are not so much. fully. And we remind that there is a series of tools available on the program website for getting more information. So the frequently asked question and the key documents available on the web page. Well, I think that we have all the information that has been delivered. We are quite late, so we invite you to send any unanswered question to the generic address, and we will answer them. And well,
yes,
thank you for following us.
Yes, remembering that there is another session of Q&A session foreseen shortly, so it will be the possibility there, especially dedicated to a generic session.
Exactly. So well,
okay.
Thank you all, and have a great lunch. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you.